Never did I imagine that my work would turn into a living nightmare initially. Everything seemed harmless as I settled into my new job on a large corporate office. The days were long, but the fulfillment from my work and camaraderie with colleagues made it bearable. Little did I know that behind the seemingly safe environment, a terrifying ordeal awaited me. It all began innocently enough with anonymous emails and messages filling my work inbox. At first, I brushed them off as harmless pranks or spam, but as they grew increasingly personal, my sense of unease escalated. Someone seemed to be watching my every move, knowing intimate details about my daily routines and private life. The feeling of being constantly observed intensified with each passing day. Colleagues' sidelong glances and a general discomfort in the office added to my paranoia. Shadows seemed to move when I glanced away, and faint footsteps echo through empty hallways, blurring the lines between reality and imagination. Late nights at the office became terrifying, with creaking floors and flickering lights heightening my anxiety. Each corner turn felt like an encounter with a tormentor. I confided in a trusted co-worker for support, but even they seemed hesitant and doubted my experiences. The situation reached its breaking point when I found a chilling message left on my desk, detailing my deepest fears and secrets, only something a stalker could know. Panic overwhelmed me, and I decided to confront my superiors to expose the terror in our workplace. However, to my shock, it was the CEO himself who revealed he had orchestrated the torment. Realization hit me hard, and fear consumed me, but a fire of determination ignited within me. With the support of courageous co-workers, we exposed the truth and rallied against the CEO, refusing to let fear dictate our actions. We filed reports, sought legal counsel, and demanded justice. In the end, the CEO was held accountable and stripped of his power. Though the scars remain, I left that toxic workplace behind, seeking solace in a new environment where trust and respect thrived. Despite the haunting nightmare of workplace stalking, I am determined to reclaim my life, standing tall as a survivor in the face of darkness. Step by step, I am healing and moving forward, refusing to let fear define me. On what seemed like an ordinary day, my attention was drawn to a man who appeared out of nowhere, his gaze fixated on me. Initially, I dismissed it as a mere coincidence, but soon, it became evident that his presence was no accident. He began to follow me from a distance, lurking in the shadows, and the feeling of being watched never left me. It sent shivers down my spine, knowing that a stranger had taken a disturbing interest in my life. Hyper-aware of my surroundings, I scanned the streets, searching for any signs of his presence. The weeks went by, and the stalking only intensified. Mysterious notes with cryptic and unsettling messages were left on my doorstep, revealing an intimate knowledge of my life. Fear consumed me as I realized that I was dealing with someone with a chilling obsession. Seeking support from friends and family, I found myself unable to shake off the relentless stalker, who even infiltrated my online presence with anonymous messages. The suspense and fear took a toll on my mental and emotional well-being, causing sleepless nights filled with nightmares. As I delved deeper into the mystery, I uncovered a haunting backstory of the Stalker, a troubled past, shattered childhood, failed relationships, and growing darkness within him. Determined to regain control, I sought the help of law enforcement, but the Stalker remained elusive, staying one step ahead. Each day was a living nightmare, and I lived in perpetual fear, unable to trust anyone. A breakthrough finally came with an anonymous tip, leading to a possible suspect's apprehension. Though the relief was overwhelming, the scars of the experience remained, and I fortified my security both physically and digitally. Years have passed since those harrowing days, and I've learned to reclaim my life, refusing to be defined by the darkness I faced. I advocate for awareness and support for stalking victims, sharing my story to empower others. Though the experience has forever changed me, I am a survivor, ready to face any challenge with strength and resilience, knowing I can overcome them. It all began innocently enough when three friends, Emily, Sarah, and Rachel, decided to embark on a relaxing weekend getaway in a charming cabin nestled deep within the woods. Little did they know that their peaceful retreat would soon turn into a harrowing nightmare. On their first night, as they gathered around the crackling fire, their attention was drawn to a man wearing a black leather jacket, standing at the edge of the clearing, his intense gaze fixed upon them. Initially, they dismissed him as a passing stranger, but as the days passed, they noticed him appearing everywhere they went, always lurking from a distance and watching their every move. Their initial unease transformed into fear as they began to suspect that they were being stalked. The man seemed to anticipate their actions, leaving them in a constant state of suspense. Local whispers confirmed their worst fears. The man had a history of stalking victims, and they were his latest targets. Determined to confront the situation, they reported the stalking to the authorities, but the man proved elusive, leaving no trace behind. Nightmares plagued their sleep, and their once beloved cabin became a prison of fear. Delving into the man's background, they discovered a disturbing pattern of targeting vulnerable women, and the threat they faced intensified. Desperate to protect themselves, they armed themselves and fortified their cabin, trying to outsmart their stalker. Weeks went by, and the man still managed to evade capture, fraying their nerves and testing their bond. Finally, a breakthrough occurred, and the authorities identified the man, a dangerous criminal with a history of violence. Although they felt relief, they knew the darkness still lurked in the shadows, and they had to live with the scars of the ordeal. Survivors of the nightmare, they became advocates for self-defense and women's safety, empowering others to protect themselves. While the man was behind bars, they continued to live with caution, knowing that evil could manifest unexpectedly. Through shared experiences and unwavering support for one another, they found strength in their resilience. Today, they are no longer victims but survivors, ready to face whatever challenges may come their way, ever vigilant and united in their journey forward. The depths of darkness within the mundane routines of everyday life were something I had never realized. until it all began innocuously enough. As I followed my daily routine, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. A woman, stealthy and cunning, seemed to be observing my every move, blending seamlessly into the crowd. Weeks passed before I received an email from an unknown sender, and its subject line, "The secrets you can't hide," immediately caught my attention. With trepidation, I opened the message, revealing a series of intimate photographs between me and someone who wasn't my husband, a secret I believed buried in my past. The accompanying message chilled me to the bone. The woman behind the lens demanded a large sum of money, threatening to expose the affair to my unsuspecting spouse. Panic consumed me as I realized I was being blackmailed by this mysterious watcher. Fear overwhelmed me, wondering how this woman had captured those private moments. The line between my public and private life blurred, and I became acutely aware of potential eyes watching me. The torment escalated as the woman sent more photos, each serving as a stark reminder of her power over me. Desperate to protect my marriage and maintain normalcy, I considered paying the ransom. However, a sliver of defiance burned within me. I refused to succumb to her demands. Determined to end this nightmare, I enlisted the help of a private investigator to unmask the blackmailer. Together, we traced the digital trail left by the emails, gradually revealing her dark history of manipulation and exploitation. She was a predator hiding in plain sight. A breakthrough came when we traced the email's IP address, leading us to a small inconspicuous apartment where she resided. The authorities apprehended her, and the relief of knowing her identity was overwhelming. However, the scars of her torment lingered and would never truly fade. Aftermath of the trauma was difficult, and I sought therapy and leaned on the support of loved ones to navigate the emotional aftermath. The road to healing was long, but I refused to let this experience define me. Today, I am more cautious and vigilant, constantly aware of potential threats. The scars serve as a reminder of my resilience and strength gained through adversity. I am determined to raise awareness about the dangers of cyberstalking and the importance of protecting one's digital footprint. Reflecting on those harrowing days, I am reminded of the fragility of our lives and the darkness that can lurk within others. But I refuse to be a victim. I am a survivor, using my voice to shine a light on the shadows and expose sinister forces that seek to exploit and control. Little did I imagine that my life could turn into a nightmare. It all started after I ended my relationship with Mark, my ex-boyfriend. The breakup was messy, filled with heated arguments and bitter words. I thought that once it was over, I could move on and rebuild my life, but I was wrong. It began with random phone calls in the middle of the night, the caller remaining silent on the other end. At first, I dismissed it as a prank, but the frequency increased, and the silence grew deafening. Each time my phone rang, fear and anticipation would race through me. Then came the notes, handwritten messages left on my doorstep, disturbing phrases revealing intimate details about my daily activities. It felt as though I was being watched, every move meticulously observed and recorded. I couldn't escape the feeling of being followed, and glimpses of a familiar figure lurking in the shadows only fueled my anxiety. The stalking intensified, invading every aspect of my life. Hidden cameras were discovered in my apartment, violating my privacy in the most profound way. Paranoia consumed me, and I felt like a prisoner in my own home. Sleep became a distant memory as I lay awake, fearing each new day. Confiding in friends and family brought limited solace, as they couldn't fully comprehend the terror I was experiencing. Involving the police yielded temporary solutions, but Mark was cunning and left no trace of his presence when they arrived. One night, as I hurried through a dimly lit alley, I heard echoing footsteps behind me. My heart raced, and I ran faster, seeking refuge, but the footsteps drew closer. Finally, a hand clamped down on my shoulder, and I faced my worst nightmare, Mark, his eyes filled with anger and obsession. Tears streaming down my face, I managed to break free and sought sanctuary in a nearby cafe, where I recounted the terrifying encounters to a sympathetic barista. The police were called, and I provided a detailed statement. Hoping for action, however, days turned into weeks, and Mark remained at large. Fear of being found consumed me, and I took drastic measures to ensure my safety, changing routines, appearance, and even my name. Living in constant vigilance, always anticipating his next move, the trauma weighed heavily on me, leaving scars beyond the physical. Yet, my resolve grew stronger. I refused to be a victim and determined to reclaim my life from the clutches of fear. Finding strength in the support of other survivors, we shared our stories and vowed to fight for justice, holding stalkers accountable and raising awareness. Though the scars remained, I refused to let them define me. Surrounded by love and support, I forged a path of healing and resilience. As I looked towards the future, I vowed to live my life free from the shackles of fear, finding solace in triumph over my darkest nightmare.